This is Rock Bottom with Ryan. No sugarcoating, no filters. The pain, the chaos, the truth. No bullshit. Just recovery.
Hey everyone, I just want to say that this episode is brought to you by Sober Strong Apparel, our proud sponsor. It is not just lifestyle wear, it's battle gear. Heavyweight tees, hoodies, and gear for the ones who draw a hard line. Clean, sober, no compromise. We rep sobriety like a badge of honor, and every piece you throw on says you're a part of the crew that doesn't back down. And every order fuels 10% to treatment facilities, which I think is amazing because a lot of us who are in recovery and a lot of us who are sober now went to treatment facilities, including myself. So I just love that 10% goes to that cause. And the clothing is incredible. Incredibly thick, packaged well, incredible material. I mean, it's like the softest clothes I've ever seen. And so not only does it look good, feel good, but it's for a good cause. And I really respect and appreciate what this company represents. And, you know, it doesn't have to be just for people who are in recovery to rock the brand. I think anybody who supports the sobriety lifestyle, the recovery community, who has loved ones in recovery, I think it's really important to support the brand, you know. And at checkout on soberstrongapparel.com, enter rock bottom, all capital, rock bottom at checkout for an additional 10% off. I love this brand, love to rep it every day. It's comfortable, feels good to wear it, looks good. I mean, it's amazing. So I just love what this company represents. And thank you so much for watching this episode. Have an amazing day and a happy holidays. All right. Welcome to another episode of Rock Bottom with Ryan. I am back in town here with my guest today, Mark Cole. Mark, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Yourself?
Good. Would you like to kind of just formally introduce yourself, kind of tell us where you're from and kind of what you do and all that and what's going on today?
Yeah, hello. My name is Mark Cole. I'm age 19. I live in the United Kingdom in Essex. I do modelling, signed with an agency called Buzz Talent. And I also was the top 3 finalist in the UK Top Male Model competition.
Awesome. That is huge. What how old are you, by the way?
19.
19. Okay. All right. So live over in the UK. Do you do most of your modeling over there?
Yeah, most of my work's over here.
Okay. Do you have to travel very often yet?
Mainly just in London, so not that far.
Okay. Yeah, I did a little modeling back in the day when I was, well, I guess I'm literally twice your age. I'm 38, but back when I was around that time, I did a little bit of modeling for like sportswear and stuff, but it never turned into like a career for me. I think I got too far into the partying thing. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of in the modeling community is a lot of partying going on and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
lot of
but you
competition
don't.
as well.
Okay. So I was gonna ask you just some questions, maybe a little bit about mental health today, because I don't think I go into that enough on my podcast. It's usually recovery related, but I wanted to talk to somebody who wasn't having an issue with addiction, but has gone through things mental health wise. So I was going to ask you kind of like, can you describe kind of what your childhood was like and life was like growing up and kind of where you started to deal with issues like depression, stuff like that?
My childhood was bringing up was quite difficult because I used to get bullied in school. So I got bullied from primary school right up to secondary school. I had issues in like classroom, didn't get on with the work, no support by the teachers. I was kind of left to do my own work. So I just didn't really cope, went home, would have homework, wouldn't want to do it because I wouldn't know how to. I didn't understand it. And then I was just getting people calling me names, saying you're dumb because you don't know the work. And really, yeah, done my year 6 sats. Luckily, I passed them, went up to secondary school. I had trouble right until got into the final years of my school, which I took for my GCSE options, was sports science, art photography, music and history. And then in year 10, I got kicked out of school. So I didn't take any of my GCSE options, and that's kind of my childhood bringing up. and going into education.
Why did you get kicked out of school?
I got kicked out of school because I was fighting people, getting into trouble, and they just said it weren't okay, that I needed to be moved out. So then I had to do online learning. Once I got kicked out, I had to do online learning, but the school didn't want me back, and I had trouble getting into another school. So at the time, I was just doing online learning, but didn't really want to do it.
Okay. So was you still graduated online and everything?
Unfortunately, I didn't take any GCSEs, so I didn't get GCSEs.
Oh, okay.
I done what's called functional skills, which is the level below GCSEs. No, before GCSEs, which I passed, but I got an unclassified grade in maths. So I passed my English, but failed my maths.
Okay. Jeez. Yeah, I could never do it. I was really good in English, but I couldn't pass any math or science classes, so I had to go take special classes to pass those every time. So it was a struggle for sure. So I was curious, like, so bullying started mainly because people would bully you because of your intelligence, because they thought you weren't uh like smart enough in school. It was mainly they were insulting your. Okay, but it never had to do with like your appearance or anything like that, right?
Or sometimes it had to do with my appearance and my background as well. Because I was so skinny and that people would just be like, "Oh, you're weak, you can't fight," and all that. So when I was in
Okay.
when I was in secondary school, a lot of people would want to fight me, but I'm not that type of person that would just have a fight with someone just to please them, just because they wanted a fight.
So did it turn you into more of a fighter than you wanted to be?
Yeah, because in sometimes I just would fight back. Like I try not to, but because they would keep on going on and on and on, it's like sometimes how much can you put up with before you
Yeah,
lash out?
you finally snap, right? Totally get it. Yeah, I suffered some bullying growing up because I got into this school, this private school in Seattle in the USA or whatever, and it was a private school where I was the poorest kid there, which didn't have a lot of money, so I got bullied a lot from all these kids with come from all this money, and I got bullied quite a bit. And I just remember like it shut me down for a couple of years that I begged my parents to get me into a public school where like I felt like I fit in more. So it was really tough though getting bullying. I felt like it really impacted my self-esteem and it made me feel low about myself. How did that start to affect you when like you'd leave school and go home? Was it starting to affect how you behaved and how you felt at home?
Yeah, it did actually affect me because when I like lit finish school, I'd go straight to my bedroom, and my mum and that would ask me how my day was, and I'd just be like, it's fine, I'm just tired, and I wouldn't really talk. And then it got to a stage where the bullying got worse, so I just wouldn't go into school. I literally refused to go into school, and then
My
there was
gosh.
stages where I'd have to go straight to my tutor, and my tutor would have to keep an eye on me, and even used to say, "You're right," and I'd be like, "Yeah, nothing's going on." But she knew there was because she used to get people like following me, like the teachers would keep on looking out for me.
So she would like minimize what was really going on at school and pretend it wasn't really happening.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really tough. I mean, especially on a kid, we got our brains are developing and it's like we want people to like us, we want people to accept us. And I just remember like you said, I would rush home after school. I'd walk home as fast as I could and get in and I'd say hi to my mom really fast and I'd go down to my room and stay there for the rest of the night and play video games. And then, she'd wonder like, why don't you have friends over this and that? I'm like, because I don't really want to have friends right now because I don't trust anybody.
yeah,
So
that was literally the
it,
same with me.
yeah, it does start to affect how you look at people. Thankfully, sometimes I was able to make like a friend or two that accepted me and stuff and, have a couple of friends here and there, close friends, but I didn't really start to feel comfortable in my own skin like in school until probably high school, probably or late middle school, because that's when I went and moved to a school where there were kids of all different backgrounds where like I felt like I fit in a little better. But it was tough though. Like when I got into school, my heart would start beating really fast and I'd be wondering, who's it going to be today, And then sometimes when I did fight back, the teachers would defend the richer kid because the rich kids donated to the school. So like they get a little bit more, they get away with things a little quicker rather than me. I was the poor kid. So I was just kind of like, okay, well, I don't get away with anything. Bullying is tough though. It's something where like when I saw other people get bullied, I started to defend those kids because I didn't want the same thing to happen to them. Did you ever catch yourself later in life defending kids that were getting bullied?
Yeah, I found that like if I was going through it and I saw someone else going through bullying, I'd defend them because I thought like I've been through it, so I know what it's like. So if I'm seeing someone else doing it, it's not nice. And I always say to the bully, "What would you do if that was your siblings getting bullied? Like someone was bullying
Exactly.
you or your siblings? If you didn't like it, why are you doing it to other people?" And
And it's such a,
most of the time I found out it was people were bullying each other because they were trying to act cool in front of their friends.
yeah, that was usually the case. And I started to realize that a lot of the kids that are bullying and putting down other kids are usually have a lot going on in their life and they're trying to like deflect their problems and put their problems onto other people. Trying to think of the word projecting, I think is what they're doing. Like they have problems at their own home, so they're trying to bring their problems onto somebody else to feel better about themselves. So it's a really sad thing to be doing to try to hurt other people. So how did that like affect your overall psyche? Did it cause you anxiety going to school? Did you have panic attacks or anything like that?
I'll just say it caused me a bit of anxiety and that because when I was going in, I was like, who's going to be the one that's going to start today? Like going through the corridors, kids looking at me, laughing, pushing me through the corridors. It was just
Yeah.
like, you had all like the big kids over you and you was like the little kid. So like in year 7, when I started off secondary school, it was the worst. You had like all the big kids pushing you and you was like the little kid that didn't know the school area. You was getting used to the surroundings.
So in secondary school, is that like high school over here
Yeah,
where
high
like it's
school.
when you teenager? Okay. So when you became a teenager, you got pushed around because there's like kids 3, 4 years older than you and
Yeah.
stuff. So that was a lot tougher than it was when you were younger.
Yeah, because like when you're younger, you've got like people nearly the same height.
Yeah. So you can at least defend yourself a little easier. What was like, can you recall that you're comfortable sharing with? What was like the most memorable time that you were bullied where like it really, really had an effect on you and how did you come back from that?
I think one of them was I was coming out after dinner and I was on like the playing ground and I was just going to one of my mates and this geezer just came out of nowhere and literally shoved me on the concrete and I damaged all my back and I just remember getting up and shoving him back and then the teachers got involved and in the end I had like a massive bruise on my back and after that I wouldn't want to go into school.
Yes. So did you ever, with those kids, with those other kids, did you ever figure out a way to like make amends with them or figure things out so they stop doing it? Or did you ever have to like approach them and prove yourself or just ignore them and just hope it stopped?
Normally I just used to just ignore them. Because you used to get told if you ignore people, they get bored of it and then move on to the next person.
Yeah, exactly. So when did bullying like start to slow down? When you got a little taller, bigger, or like did it stop just once you got out of school, or like how did that work?
I'd say bullying stopped when I got out of secondary school. So when I
Okay.
ended up getting kicked out, that's when the bullying stopped. Because literally I was doing work from home, so I didn't have to face anyone.
Okay. And so like going into like days like today where it's like you're doing modeling, which requires a lot of confidence and stuff. And it seems like you get the last laugh now because you're doing something that's, really good for yourself and requires a lot of confidence and obviously looking good and stuff. So like how is it hard for you nowadays to kind of get into that modeling perspective and like when you've been bullied and stuff, how did you switch into that confidence?
When I first done like starting off in modelling, confidence was still as bad as it was in school. Like I still thought I was getting judged. But as I got gone on and I got like the support of other models and like my agency backing me, I've just kind of thought, well, I must be something because I'm on their books. I've done jobs with them. I came third in the competition. I've
Yeah.
kind of said the bullies ain't gonna win. I'm gonna keep fighting and do what I want to do and
That's
prove
great.
them wrong.
That's great. That shows like a lot of persistence, that you stuck with it and didn't let any of those thoughts from the past set you back and say, I can't do this. You actually still were able to push through that and do it, So And it sounds like you're doing really well at it. And it sounds like the agency you work for obviously believes in you, which helps you believe in yourself, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And have you found it easier in your going into your adult life to make friends, and there's a lot less bullies because people become more mature and they bully you less?
Yeah, I found out like once you get into adulthood, more people are more mature, so it's easier to make friends. You
Yeah,
know, you get to realize who your real friends are and
that's
who are not
true.
friends.
That is very true. I noticed that too. It's because I felt like even going into my adult years, sometimes even in college or university, as you guys call it, I think you guys call it university, but I still felt like sometimes my confidence was still kind of low because of high school. You know, I had a rough time at home too, and having a rough time at school. So when I got into college, I still kind of looked at everybody like I never trusted anybody at first. I had to have almost them prove themselves to me because I didn't want to trust them. And once people were nice to me for a while, I would trust them. But still, if anybody treated me different, I would feel the same feelings I got when I was bullied 10 years before that. And it was just something that kind of went on for a long time. But I realized the older I got, the less it happened and the more that people respected each other a little more. But still, even in my adult life now, there's still people that bully everywhere. Like even in my mid 30s at a job, I felt like there was certain people at the job that were like kind of gave off that vibe, you know? So it still happens even later in life. It's just something that you kind of learn how to like manage it and stand up for yourself and have that confidence. Yeah. So if you did you have a good relationships with like your family at home, and like was everything good there? Did you feel like it was a safe place to be?
But yeah, definitely at my family, we all got on. The only thing that didn't really work because my dad was never in my life. Still to this day, my dad's not in my life. So mainly like it was just my mum bringing me up with my sisters and my nan. So yeah, I have like a good relationship with all them. So they were like
That's
supportive
good.
during all the bullying and that.
Do you think it made it? And if any questions too personal, just tell me, and you don't have to
Yeah, no,
answer
that's fine.
anything. But do you think it affected you not having like a father figure in your life to kind of teach you how to stand up for yourself and have that give off that masculine side? Because my parents were divorced, and I spent most of my childhood with my mom during the times I was getting bullied, and I didn't really have my dad in my life where I thought if I was, he would have been able to like give me that confidence or whatever. Did you ever feel like that was kind of a void in your life?
Yeah, I definitely do because like not having a father figure, it was hard because you'd like at Christmas and that, and in the parks you would see people with like their mum and dad or like talking about it, what their mum and dad's done, and you're like, well, I haven't got a dad, so like it was hard, and especially when you're growing up, and you want to ask like man questions, but you don't have that father figure in, so you're having to ask your mum, which I find a bit embarrassing.
Yeah, that's so true. Like you're asking about like, you know, if you're going to dating and stuff, sometimes you want to hear the male perspective and stuff like that, and you have to go to your mother, and you're kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to hear it from a mother's perspective, which is good, but it's also not the perspective a boy needs growing up, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was tough. Do you ever is your father somebody that you know where he is and you guys don't communicate, or you just don't know, like you're just kind of he's not in your life at all, you don't talk to him, you don't know where he is, like is it one of those things?
I know where he is, but yeah, I just don't have nothing to do with him, so like no contact at all. I had like contact with him like 2 years ago, but we didn't rekindle the relationship. I've just kind of gone our different ways.
Oh, okay, you're just kind of like accepting that he's probably not somebody you want in your life at this point.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have siblings?
Yeah, I've got siblings,
Okay, brothers, sisters?
sisters,
Oh, okay, are they older, younger?
younger.
Younger, okay. So did you ever feel like the older brother? Did you take the older brother role and be protective of them growing up?
Yeah, I say, yeah, definitely. Like when I was at home, I used to say I was like the man of the house, so that I'd look out for all my sisters, and like if anything needed done, I'll do it.
That's good. I grew up with two younger sisters myself, so I just was always very protective of them, you know, even when they went into dating and all that stuff or grew up at school and stuff. And one of my younger sisters was a little overweight, and I know she got bullied, so I always felt very obligated to protect her and make sure that she didn't go through what I went through. But I was never bullied because of how I looked or anything. I was just bullied because of the not coming from money at the time, and it was just kind of difficult. But I always wanted to protect them, you know. So,
Yeah.
um, so to this day, like being in modeling and stuff and being on camera and all that, have you found it pretty easy to overcome any depression that you suffered from a lot of that stuff growing up?
I say it's still hard because like sometimes you get flashbacks of it, and like there's a lot in the media. There's like a lot of hate in the media. So like if you post a picture on social media, you could get some like nasty comments or people
Yeah.
trying to Photoshop them to make them look horrible. But I just try to ignore it all. I don't really read my comments. I have the
Yeah.
comments on, but I just don't read them because I just like if you read a comment that might knock you, and then
Yeah.
like if you get a comment and you don't like, you'll try to fight back, and then you try and fight back on social media where 10 of thousands of people can see it. I'm just like,
I
no,
know.
I just won't do it.
Yeah, and these are people on social media who, like, I've gotten messages before just for my podcast, you know, negative messages and stuff. And I don't mind reading them. I feel like I can handle criticism better than I used to. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, I always have to remind myself, I'm like, these are just people that are sitting on their phones or computers, pissed off at their own problems, and they want to take it out on somebody else for their success, you know? And I feel like sometimes you can use it as motivation to
To prove them wrong.
better yourself. Yeah, to prove them wrong, better yourself, and just grow from it. Because it's like these people have nothing positive to say, but it's like what you're doing with your life right now seems pretty positive, and it seems like you love doing it. So you can't let the negative comments bring you down, you know?
Yeah.
So are there, so like I saw on your page, if you want to shout out your Instagram name.
My Instagram name is official 26.
Oh, okay. And it says you're like a mental health advocate. How do you go about being a mental health advocate these days? Like, are you just open to talking to anybody about mental health, or what kind of things do you do?
Like I've had my own struggles with mental health, so I talk to people about my own mental health, and anyone that's dealing with mental health, try to get them to speak up openly about mental health. I think a lot of people, especially men, don't speak up about mental health. They try
That's
to
so
act,
true.
they try to act strong, but in
That's
fact
so
they're
true.
actually crumbling.
That is the most true statement ever. And that's something I've wanted to talk about on the podcast a lot more, was just the fact that, like, even I'm a man who is overcoming addiction. And, you know, I've been sober about 14 months. And we, you know, us men, we go through depression, we go through anxiety, we go through insecurities, but we don't talk about it. We don't ask for help enough. So it sounds like you're making yourself an ear for people that want to talk about it, want to open up. And do you do a lot of that on your page and talk about things you're going through and just open up through social media, or do you just kind of make yourself available for other people?
I tried to put a lot of posts on about mental health, try to support mental health charities, and and if I always see someone that's got like a message on their post and they're struggling, I always tell them that my DMs are always open. Day or night, just message me. Don't do anything stupid because there is help out there.
Yeah, no, that's good. What specific mental health area do you like to talk about the most, that you think you can relate to the most?
To be honest, I talk about anything to do with mental health. I talk about like being suicidal, kind. I say to someone, if you've got anything you need to talk about, just message me and I'll try to give a listening ear.
That's great. So if somebody was going through, say, suicidal ideologies right now, like they were suicidal ideation right now, what would you tell them to help them get out of that mind state?
I just basically say to them that don't do it because it does get easy. You might not think at that moment in the stage, but it does get easy, and you've got your family around you that will support you. And if you do anything like commit suicide and end your life, you might think it's okay that you're gone, but in fact it actually hurts your parents and your family because your families are regretting that they didn't know and they couldn't help you.
It's very well said. So how long ago was it where you had these suicidal ideation?
Probably back in 2020, during COVID.
Okay. And what was going through your head during those times? Were you just was it COVID not being able to go anywhere like led to just lonely feelings and just depression because you couldn't go anywhere, or what was going on?
I'd say it's probably, yeah, during COVID, not being able to see family, not being able to go out, like, just felt like you was in a prison locked up. You weren't allowed to see people. You had to see people over like FaceTime, call people. It just weren't the same. So I find that got on top of me, and also like all the bullying as well, like being bullied and that. So I think that's why I struggled, and that's why
Yeah.
like mental health got too much.
Yeah, you had a lot of self-hate going on and a lack of self-worth and stuff going on, and then not being able to like consult the people or talk to the people that you care about most just added on to it. Yeah, no, I understand that. So like, did you ever attempt suicide, or did you just kind of had the ideas and thoughts of it and had to get out of it? And how'd you get out of it?
Uh, One point of my life, I did actually attempt it. I went for a walk because at the stage I was living with family and friends, so I weren't living with my parents because I'd moved. I moved out when I was finishing my education because I wanted to try to pass my exam. So I moved out and lived with some family friends, and I went for a walk. And at that stage, I just carried on walking. For some reason, I didn't mean to go to that way, but I went up to like a train station and I was like looking across at the train line, thinking to jump. And it was only like I was hearing like the trains going past, and I weren't thinking of anyone else. I was just thinking about that moment in time. And then I saw a train coming off, went to go and do it. But then the thing that stopped me was a voice in my mind saying, "Don't do it. Think of your family that you're leaving behind." So at that stage, I like turned away and just like walked home. And then when I walked home, my family, like my mum's friends said, "So what's took you that long? Why is it taking you that long to go for a walk?" And I just remembered saying to him, "Nothing, I'm fine." And I basically went upstairs, just watched TV, shut my door and wouldn't really speak that long. And like before I went to do that attempt, like there were stages where I'd get up in the morning and wouldn't want to get up. I'd just be in bed, didn't even want to have like a shower or that because I just wouldn't have any energy. And I used to go on walks like daily, but I wouldn't even go for a walk. I'll just literally sit in my bed watching TV. And then it was
Wow.
like after the attempt of suicide, I had an appointment at an appointment, and I remember the lady was talking to me, and I was just staring at like the walls, and she was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, there's nothing." And then she was like, "You're not the same as you normally are in your previous appointments." And that's when I just said, "No, I'm struggling." And like that was hard. That was a hard thing to say, especially being a man, because like I thought I'll show my weakness, but in fact I wasn't. I was being strong, speaking out about it. So then the lady
Extremely.
said to me, "Let's try get you some counselling." So after the appointment, I got referred to some mental health counselling.
Wow. So what was the appointment just with the regular doctor, and then she advised you to go to counseling?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. And she could see on your mind that was it tough for you to open up? Like, were you hesitating to open up and say, "Hey, I am not, I'm struggling right now. I have to admit to that." You have to admit to an adult that you're really struggling. Was that really difficult?
Yeah, because literally, like I wasn't even really talking. She was asking me questions, and I just weren't doing anything. And then it was like, do I ask for help or do I not? And do I just walk out of it and keep it carrying on? But in that stage, I thought, no, I need to ask for help because can't keep on like struggling with it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when did you start, how soon did you start going to real counseling or therapy after that? And what did you start to learn in therapy?
I think I went to therapy a month after the appointment because there was a waiting list. And during like COVID, because a lot of people were struggling with mental health, there was like a massive backlog. So eventually I got into counselling. I went every Fridays for 15 minutes with me and the counsellor. And I remember our first visit, I went in the room and she called my name and she was like, "So what do you want to talk about?" And at that first appointment, I was like, I didn't really want to talk. So I was basically just keeping quiet. And she was like, "So why are we here now?" I went, "Because I'm struggling." And it was mainly the appointments were like trying to just speak, get your feelings out and try to turn like negative thoughts into positive thoughts. They're always trying to find the positives in the negatives.
Yeah. And what were some of the positives? What were some of the negatives?
So some of the negatives were like being able to see your family, and then like the positive would be, well, you might not be able to see your family, but you can still see them on like Skype, and that it's not going to be forever. Like it will eventually, once lockdowns ended, you'll be able to see your family.
Good. So that's good. So how long did it take you to start really feeling better and wake up in the morning and start thinking of your life as a positive thing?
It didn't like get better straight away. It took like a couple of weeks. I'll say it took like about a couple of months to get better. But I'd eventually like try to go back to doing my walks during the day, going downstairs, watching films, speaking over dinner. Just like if I ever felt at that stage where I didn't want to speak, I could write it down on a bit of paper. Because sometimes you can't always talk about it, but even writing down, at least you're getting your views across.
Yeah. So how long ago was that? Was probably during COVID. So that was like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Okay. And you're 19 now. So, okay. So like, are you still seeing a therapist actively now?
No, I got discharged 2 years, about 3-4 years ago. But like, I don't say my mental health has gone away. I say it's still there. Like mental health don't go away. It like you just have to live with it, and you just cope. When you're having a
Cope
bad
and you're
day,
kind of.
you find to make it better.
Okay. And what are some of the things you do to cope these days? Doing what you do, being in modeling, and having that just be a few years ago. Like, what are some of the ways you go about 24 hours now to keep your head in the right place?
I say mainly going for walks, eating healthy, listening to music, and spending time with family.
Okay. So, and do you surround yourself with the right friends and stuff
People.
too
Yeah,
now?
yeah. I don't like hang around with negative people. Like if there's someone
Good.
trying to be negative, or I think like if they try and mess me around, like I think they're my friend, but not. I get rid of them as soon as possible.
Exactly. That's one thing I've learned, like even as a recovery advocate, and I'm a mental health advocate, but in recovery too, it's like if I wanted to stay away from the negativity that got me into drinking and drugs, I decided after I finally wanted to get help that I had to cut certain people off. Was that hard for you to cut people off, or did it get easy for you?
Some of it got hard because like there were some people that I used to like, and I thought they were like the right people to hang around with. But then I
Yeah,
found out they weren't. So like you used to think, oh yeah, they might be, and I used to like spending time with them, but in the end, the time weren't as good as it used to be. So like in the end, it was like hard cutting people off. But then I say now I just make it easier. I'm like, well, if you're gonna be negative, all that, just get out of my life. I can't deal with it. Like
exactly.
I'm trying to like improve my life, make my life as good as it can. You lot just can't be bothered. And I find
I
that
agree.
most of the people in my life just want to bring me down because they don't want to do anything in their life. Well, they haven't yet chose what they want to do.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of people that, like we said about bullying, if they want to bring negativity into your life, they're projecting their own problems onto you, is what I assume. But that's good that you are able to distance yourself from those kind of people. Like, what would you say? Say I was like one of your friends right now or like former friends right now that was bringing negativity into your life. What would you tell me?
I just basically say that I'm giving you a warning. If you don't like treating me with respect, then you're out of my life, and you won't speak to me again because you will be on my block list.
That's good. Yeah, block list or the ghost people. I go miss MIA. I just kind of like stop talking to people, and they ask me like, "What's wrong?" Like, "Why aren't you talking to me?" Or where'd you go? And I'm just kind of like, "Hey, I don't need that in my life right now. I need to stay positive and love myself, and you're not helping. So that's something you got to do. So that's good. So have you found it? Comparing mental health with recovery, and I know that not you don't have any issues with addiction, which I really admire, and I hope that you stay that way, for the rest of your life. But like, have you ever thought to yourself, overcoming the depression, the bullying and all that, have you ever wanted to resort to like drinking and drugs, or has that been ever a pressure on you? Or is that something you want to avoid because you know the repercussions?
Luckily with me, drink and drugs I've never thought about doing it because I've had friends where they've done drinks and drugs and they've lost their lives. So I've seen it like in front of me. So luckily in that way, I've like turned away from it. That's why when I see people struggling with mental health, I'm like, I know how it is. So I try to help people, and people that are struggling with drugs, I try to help them because I know like the repercussions of it.
That's good. That's good. So you've seen it firsthand, but you haven't dealt with it yourself, but you're still able to help people to not go that direction. That's really good. That's really admirable. So you said you work with like charities and stuff. What kind of mental health charities do you work like have you done work with and like
Well, I'm working with a charity at the moment. It's not like a proper charity, but it's
okay. So I saw that you did a episode with Ashley from Cosmetic Express. Was that kind of to talk about like modeling and all that, or what did you guys discuss?
hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear now. Sorry, something happened.
Okay. Sorry, I had me muted. Yeah, I just like to make sure because we have a good episode going, so I just want to make sure that it ends properly. So yeah, so I was just asking, when you got on the podcast with Ashley with Cosmetic Express, what did you guys discuss?
We mainly discussed about mental health, bullying, and my modeling career.
Okay, awesome. So what are your goals in life now, overcoming mental health issues, overcoming suicidal ideation, and it sounds like you're a confident young man now, and it seems like you got a lot going for you. What are your end goals now?
My end goal is just to carry on going into modeling, hopefully working with bigger brands and being there for anyone that's struggling with mental health and just achieving big goals, being a role model for other people, being a role model for my siblings and my family.
Great. Yeah, being a role model is so important. I as an addict, former addict, I couldn't be a role model for a very long time. So now doing this podcast and being outspoken about things is finally, I think, helping me be a better role model, And do you feel like being outspoken and openly talking about your mental health, that's going to inspire others to do the same?
I'm hoping it does. I've got
Good.
my role model that helped me with my mental health was Tyson Fury. So that's inspired me to talk up with my mental health as well and to recover.
Okay. And Tyson Fury is a fighter. Was it because he's a fighter and he says a lot of motivational things, or what about him got you into him?
Mainly was, motivational things. And when he talked about his mental health, like I kind of read his book and I knew that if he could change his life, then so could I. Especially when
Okay.
he was quite a rich person, so he had all the luxuries in life.
Yeah. And he still battled with mental health, even with everything he had. And did he ever talk about growing up with bullying and all that?
I don't think he ever talked about bullying, but like I said, he spoke about his mental health and his addictions with drugs and drink.
Okay. And reading that, did that help you kind of gain the confidence and a different perspective from somebody you look at as a really strong, famous person, that just kind of motivate you like it can happen to anyone?
Yeah, because like, especially with someone that's got like all the money in the world, can go out and buy a jet and like the latest tech. If he can struggle with mental health, then anyone can struggle with it, even if you've got everything in life. Sometimes mental health
That's so
can hit
true.
you.
That's so true. That's so true. Anybody can go through it, I hear about all these celebrities over here in America that look like they have everything going for them. They got the looks, the popularity, the money, and it's just like, what could you possibly be depressed about? But it can happen to anyone, and it's frightening things. I really admire what you're doing and how you're facing, getting through everything that you've been through, and then still, holding yourself with confidence and modeling and stuff, and really admire that. Was there anything in the book that you can quote that you really stands out to you from Tyson Fury that you want to share?
Nothing from the book, but my own quote that I live by is just take one day as it comes. Don't worry about tomorrow or next week. Just live the moment you're living to the fullest. Because you don't know whether you're going
Awesome.
to be there. You never know when when your life's going to end. So I just say enjoy life while you can.
Yes, enjoy life and be good to others, and treat others the way you want to be treated, I think, and keep fighting. So sounds like you got all the tools to keep being successful. So really appreciate you being on my podcast and talking about mental health and everything you've been through and how you're doing it now. And I really wish you luck with modeling and all that. And we'll keep in touch. And thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right.
Rock Bottom with Ryan. No bullshit, just recovery.